Thank you for staying with us.
Don't dare.
I shall keep our secret secret. Yes. For weeks now, stories of demolition of properties in Lagos have been trending.
That one you can trend it.
In fact, for years, this has been a very touchy issue. Many blame the government for allowing these properties to be developed before being demolished, while others say developers are the ones who are guilty. But while the blame game is ongoing, many people have lost valuables, they've lost money, they've lost their life savings. Look at what happened at the Mende Villas during the week. They say that those properties were built by a developer. Anyway, what do I know? We have the commissioner, the Lagos State Commissioner for Physical Planning and Urban Development with us this morning, Engineer Oluyinka Olumide. Good morning.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for coming.
It's a pleasure.
Let's begin by saying well done.
Right now, I wouldn't like to be in your shoes. Neither would I like to be in the shoes of the Commissioner for the Environment. I think the two of you right now are the most unpopular people in Lagos.
No, please, put it this way. PE1.
P?
PE1.
What is PE1?
Public enemy number 1.
So, Mr. Commissioner, this master plan of Lagos that you all are now bringing back, it seems, because there have been a number of years where developers, homeowners just did exactly what they wanted. What went wrong that they were able to do that? And some of those properties have been standing for 10, 15 years, and you all now wake up that this is not in the master plan, it's got to go.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Let me first start by saying that plans are made for certain period of times. When you have modern city plans prepared for an area, it runs for probably between 10 to 20 years. And we are saddled with the responsibility of ensuring the production of those plans, as well as monitoring the compliance. However, you find cases that a lot of people deliberately or otherwise, just on their own, decides to do whatever they think is suitable for them, which unfortunately is quite wrong. And we have the responsibility to ensure that plans are produced for benefit of people and that we oversee the control. However, if you look at Lagos, what we have now in terms of monitoring, we have offices in all the 57 LCDAs in Lagos. And if you take, for example, Ibejuleki now, you have one office there, you know. It will be practically difficult for that office to oversee the whole of the area. And the next phase we are looking at now, it's having as many as possible, 2, 3, 4, 5, depending on the area, offices. Almost like what NEPA is doing. You agree with me that you cannot have one NEPA office in a local government. No. That would be completely chaotic. So for them to be able to have outreach, there are as many as possible. So, and that's why they're able to go out. If you don't pay on time, your lines will be disconnected. So that's the kind of thing we are moving on in the next phase now. However, in terms of violation, a lot has to do with people. Apart from individual, which I must confess, maybe the awareness is not fully total in terms of people knowing the importance of building planning permit approval. Now, for the estate developers, they cannot claim ignorance of that. That's not possible. However, what we have seen over time is that approvals are granted and deliberately they go beyond their bound in terms of the surveyed plan. Like in the case of Mende, which is also very, very common with the developers, especially those of them that are very close to canal areas, of the feeling that, okay, this is a loose land and, you know, so a layout approved for like maybe 30 units, you know, they will now want to expand by adding 1 or 2 or 3, you know, there. And of course, I can't rule out a compromise on our staff. And we've started very aggressively on that now. Very, very serious. Just 2 days ago, we are discussing with LBS in terms of ethical value and leadership models to be able to upscale them so that they'll be able to distinguish between right and wrong, you know. That we've observed was lacking. No, but the important thing is that a wrong is always a wrong.
Okay,
and we must right them. And that's why we are going out now very aggressively that, look, it's a joint collaboration. The efforts we are putting down is not only for the benefits of the government, it's also for their own benefit.
Let me ask you, Engineer Rumide,
they have a befitting
environment.
Yes.
You know, and I like the fact that the government is now looking at ensuring that its own staff, taking responsibility is not to be taken lightly. And we have to applaud your government for your administration or your authorities for taking responsibility for some of these things. It is not something to be taken lightly, and it is admirable and appreciated. But how many people have been terminated? How many of them have had their appointments terminated as a result of this?
Or have been disciplined.
Or disciplined in any way. Because their error, to them is an error, has cost many other people billions.
Life savings.
Life savings, lives, health, and all of those things. So how many people have been penalized as a result of that kind of activity?
You must agree with me that in government, we don't just lay off people. You know, there are processes
the processes.
Queries are issued, you answer, to some level, panels are set up, and right now, as I speak, we have about 3 cases under investigation. You know, we have about 3 cases, and the result of the investigation will determine the course of action, whether it's going to be demotion, whether it's going to be instant dismissal or whatever. We have 3 cases that are ongoing.
How many people are involved in the 30 cases?
Come again?
How many people are involved?
Normally, whoever is the head takes absolute responsibility.
Okay.
In the course of answering the query or facing the panel, there may be other lower names that may come up, but the leader takes the lead in that case.
Okay. Now you cited, you cited the case of Mende and all of that.
Yes.
How did those things happen? I saw that video, Halera and I were discussing it earlier, where the commissioner for the environment was asking whether they had certain papers. And a good number of them were saying that they didn't have those papers, including the chairman of the association.
In fact, they couldn't answer.
They couldn't even answer, and all those things. So how did those happen? They didn't just start yesterday. They didn't start in this administration. I dare say they didn't even start in this republic.
Yes.
They started way back.
Yes.
How did those things happen?
Yeah, thank you very much. You see, prior to 2022, June, July, realizing the enormity of the challenge we are facing here, the governor of Babajide Olusola Sanwo-Olu now made a serious effort to ensure that the building control agency is heavily fortified. Right now, we have 80 armed mobile policemen in that unit. Now, prior to that, I must tell you, it's extremely, very, very difficult. And believe you me, there is nowhere in Lagos you probably do any construction that officers will not be there as a way of serving a caution notice or thereabout. Either you have from LASPA, that's the planning permit, or building control, LAPSCA, or the material testing, who are there to verify the standard and quality of what is being done, or the safety commission. Now, the challenge has been that notices are served at infancy level. If they are lucky, and when they go out to serve this notice, they'll probably go maybe 1 or 2 officers. And what you find on site is a band of Omonile and all the likes. You know, we harass them. Sometimes the officers are injured by way of attack and things like that. It's only from, like I said, July 2022 that we have a full-fledged agency that can now face. Even 2 weeks ago, myself and some team, we went around Ibejuleki Ekpe, and we got to a site that has 2 policemen as security there. And he was trying to stop us from going in until my own policemen got in there. So you can imagine that kind of thing when an officer, 2 or 3 of them, goes to a place. It will be pretty difficult for them to do any enforcement. And that is what has been happening then. Because then the power to demolish was very, very limited. Because we don't have demolition agency then. And when we have contraventions like that, we have to write up to the governor before it's approved, before you go and get demolition bulldozers and things like that. But right now, we have everything. We can take full charge. We can take full control. And that's why we are going now very seriously outside. And good enough, that's why we have, it took me a lot of time. And I must thank the ESCO for approving the amnesty period for people. Because what we have from lands, you have about around 500,000 that have been issued in terms of consent of CFO. Now, in terms of approval that we have issued, it's far, far from there. Last year alone, we got about 7,877 applications, people seeking approval, out of which about 5,864 were granted approval, but the whole of the state. So if you want to interpolate now, you say, okay, let's say roughly 6,000 per annum for 20 years. That's 120,000 out of 500,000. You can see the gap. That's about 20-25% thereabout. Now, right now, we have a drone capture of the whole of Lagos State. We know all the buildings that are on the state, and we can determine from our record those of them with approval, those of them without approval. That's why they have this opportunity now, because there is no way you can run to now. The system we have now can capture real time. If you drop a load of granite in your site 10 p.m. on a particular date, we will know, because we have 24/7 drone capturing. We will know, so nothing can be hidden now. Because you want to come for approval and you are presenting a fully developed building as if you are just starting, we will know.
Mr. Lumide.
Thanks.
I will assume, therefore, since you have a drone that captures everything, I will assume, therefore, that you are aware of the piece of land between Marua and Freedom Way in Lekki, and the area which is designated in the master plan as the green area, and some people trying to appropriate the land now, and they've got 15 policemen stationed there permanently to prevent anybody from talking to them at all.
And that anybody includes government?
No, it cannot be. I mean, you know it cannot be.
But we have raised this issue before, and they are still there.
They will
We
be.
spoke about it 2 weeks ago.
You will agree with me that what the environment is doing now in terms of cleanup of Lagos, at appropriate time, we will clear them. They cannot be bigger than the law. That's clear. They cannot be bigger than the law. I went on inspection 2 weeks ago. I saw what they are doing around the police stations and formations. It's completely out of law. Because you are police station or whatever, you now build shanties in front. No, we are going to approach them. And we are writing to the Commissioner of Police. They have to clear up. It doesn't befit the environment. Nobody is bigger than the law. The law is clear.
So what about the buildings at Ibejuleki that you spoke about?
These are estate land, and it's a pity, and it's very good for us that we are taking the stand very early now. Because before you do a development of a building within an estate, whoever is the developer either is getting the land allocation from government, from NTDA, or you are buying from the Omoniles. You first must clear the land use purpose for that land. That's the starting point. Before you purchase your land, you have to clear from land that is this property designated for this right purpose? If it is agreed and you buy it for development, you cannot get approval.
Okay, the ones in Ibejuleki, we understand, are agricultural land.
Most of them are agric land. And by virtue
you're
of
going
that,
to remove all those...
Hold on, the removal is not just like that. They can request for change. Plants are dynamic. From time to time we review. But the fact as at now is that what those lands are designated for is not the purpose for what they are intending to do now. And for that purpose, they cannot get approval. And what the law says is that for estate land, you first must get your layout approval. Even land that are given on extension to families, you must get approval of the layout from the ministry, and we have a department for that, development matters. We grant the layout approval before you now approach last part, that's planning permit authority, to get individual approval for all those buildings. Now on their own, they have divided into plots, even sometimes as small as 200 square meter. And now they are selling. In some cases, they are even finished selling. Our brothers in diaspora sending in money for something they don't know. By the time they come to build now, there will be problem. And that's why we are starting now at the infancy level to stop them, because they cannot get approval for those lands.
Let me ask you something.
A lot of trees in areas such as Ikoyi have been cut down. Is that with the approval of the state?
No individual has the right to cut down any trees. No. No individual has right.
A lot of
however, if I guess where you are going, you probably want to compare Ikoyi of today with Ikoyi of 30 years back. Now, like we said, planning itself is dynamic. It moves with time, and we have to respond. Like I said, development plans within an area are reviewed over time. Now, the scheme in Victoria and Ikoyi is being reviewed. So, when you have that kind of revision, you can see now that we have road expansion in the whole of Ikoyi. You have street lights that are being worked on now, and we are also planning for water. So when you have development like this, some area will probably have to go in terms of greens. But however, whatever we are doing, because you cannot say you are planning a city without recognition for nature.
Yeah.
They are always done in a recognition of nature. Because those are things that will enhance the value of even what we are developing.
Abiodun Karim is asking you, well, says we should ask you. I don't know. He wants to ask you. The Commissioner for Physical Planning, those buildings around waterways marked for removal, particularly within Apapa, when are they going to carry out the task? A building inside Apapa local government that was built with taxpayers' money, I think he wants to say, how will this be managed?
Which taxpayer money? Is it a government?
Well, Abiodun Karim, you may have to explain whether it's a government building, but you said that there are some buildings that were marked.
Okay. Now, I'm happy that somebody has confirmed to the fact that the building is marked. By the time they go there now to remove, they will say they are not giving notice. There is a procedure, approved procedure, that we follow in the process of removal. We don't just go to a place and remove. We go there and serve you notice and expect you to respond. And in your response, we look at it. If it is something that can still be managed in terms of, okay, remove this, do that, fine. If it is not, we'll give you notice that, please, this cannot stay, and we'll remove it. You heard what the Commissioner for Environment said. The discourse started as far back as November last year. And they got here, we're in May now, and they got here in May, and they are still saying that they are not giving notice.
No, in fact,
that's not possible.
He said it was Tunji Bello, when he was Commissioner for the Environment, who gave them notice.
We don't just go there. And moreover, in the ministry, we have appeals committee, which we are even appealing now to be made a tribunal, so that it's completely off the ministry. That if you are dissatisfied in any way, you can approach them. they've had cases that they've treated that we've been found guilty, and we made the necessary compensation in terms of putting the person back.
Talking about compensation, Sonoja is asking, during the Mende demolitions, the Lagos State officers cited 1974 plans, where a property is built after due approvals by the Building Control Agency, who are representatives of the state. Should demolitions be effected with due compensation?
Now, you agree with me that either YX certificate or diploma or BSc is always there, that you don't alter anything. If your name is Olatunde and the road's Olutunde, and you think you can just put that U to A, you have rendered that certificate useless, invalid. And in the approval that we give, if you read through, is there that you have to develop or build according to what you have in that approval. If you've done any alteration there, you have rendered that approval invalid.
So you
now,
have to
in that
start
case,
afresh.
now when you extend beyond your plot line, you of course render that approval useless. And when we come there, and that's what the environment is saying, that they don't demolish, they remove. The areas of your encroachment, they just remove it, or we get there and we remove it peacefully for you.
Remove?
Yes.
Peacefully?
Yes, peacefully.
Okay.
But
let me ask
with
you
a
this.
bulldozer, it's peacefully, Mr. Lumide. With a bulldozer, it's peacefully.
Because you may not use, it might not be possible to use hand to remove. So you need some tools. Okay. And that tool happens to be a machine.
Okay.
However,
right, let me ask you this. Okay.
Right. However, if we have a building that has full approval and everything in there is complied with, and by our own way has to be removed, we pay full compensation. Okay. For example, on right of way, if you are doing roads and you have legitimate approval and we get to a place and not of your own error, we'll pay full compensation.
Let me ask you this.
And we even engage them before that in public interest.
Engineer, let me ask you these two difficult questions. Number one, from what you know in terms of physical planning and urban development, what is the capacity of human beings that Lagos State should be able to contain? Secondly, what's the percentage of Lagos State where the infrastructure is illegal? Illegal, that they are, okay. the infrastructure is occupying land in Lagos illegally. What's the percentage?
Well, it will be difficult to give you that.
That's why I say it's a difficult question.
But the first one, regarding manpower, we have very, very competent and capable officers. The slight challenge is capacity. Like I said before, we have offices in all the 57 LCD areas. However, I don't think they are enough, and we've started.
No. I'm talking about the population that Lagos State can physically plan for. Yes, and conveniently contain. We have about between 20 and 22 million naira now. 20 and 22 million people now. Yeah. What's the average that, realistically speaking, Lagos should be able to take?
Well, they said the reward of hard work is more work. In Lagos here, we are condemned to do good. And you agree with me that, especially this administration, we've been doing a lot in terms of infrastructural development and upliftment. However, once this is done, you have influx of people. Ogun State Commissioner just left here. There is virtually no boundary or border between Ogun, Lagos. Somebody wakes up in Nasarawa today, is coming to Lagos. It's just a matter of to enter the bus. I mean, statistically, if you look at it, if you have, there are about 160 something universities in this country. Let's say at about 3,000. 3 times 150, that's 450. Let's say a total of about 700,000, including polytechnic, in a year, graduates pushed out. Believe you me, not less than 60% will be in Lagos.
Is Lagos capable? I'm talking about the land space.
Yes.
Human habitation.
Yes.
How many people should Lagos be able to take? Is Lagos overstretched now in terms of infrastructure Those are the questions I'm asking.
Well, we are, quite frankly, we are getting to that stage now.
Of being overstretched.
Yes, we are getting to that stage now. Because, for example, if you take transportation, if you look in the morning from Otedola Bridge here down to Lekki Toll Gate, virtually you see bumper to bumper. That is a signal, one of the things that we can use, of influx of people moving to the island. Now, as it affects building, even from the rates you charge, you can also assess that. From the ways tenants bombard their landlord, you can also assess that.
Okay, well.
From the way applications that are being submitted on a daily basis, you can also get that. We are getting to that stage now, but we have to keep, and that's why the new plans that we're having now, they are changing. And that's why you can see Ikoyi, before you have a house in 1 acre of land, you probably cannot have that one again. You have high rises now. So we have to continuously respond to that.
Okay.
All we can say is Ekushe. The Lagos State Commissioner for Physical Planning and Urban Development, Engineer Oluyinka Olumide.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
More grease to your elbow, and may the Lord be with you.
Amen. Thank you very much.
Sunrise will continue in just a moment. Stay with us.